Left him on the side of the road, permanently. My boyfriend mocked me, claiming I didn't know how to repair a vehicle because I'm a woman. So I left him on the side of the road and permanently single. I was raised by a single mom. I never had a father figure growing up, so when something broke in our house, I had to teach myself how to fix it. My mother always encouraged me to chase my passion for mechanics, and I grew up developing a strong understanding of how things worked. When I met my boyfriend Nick's parents, his father took a liking to me almost immediately. He's a car enthusiast, and every time I visited their house, we'd inevitably end up in the garage tinkering with vehicles. Nick, on the other hand, has never been interested in cars and has no mechanical inclination whatsoever. My close relationship with his father has always been a sore spot in our relationship, and I think that's why Nick lashed out at me the other day. Background: Nick's awful car maintenance. Nick and I have been dating for about a year, and something that has always bothered me is his complete disregard for vehicle maintenance. To give some context, he bought his Nissan Versa brand new 5 years ago and has put about 70,000 miles on it. Since then, he has never changed the oil or done any routine maintenance. This isn't a financial issue. Nick has a great job and makes good money. He just refuses to take care of his vehicle. As for me, I restore vehicles as a hobby and side job. While I'm not a full-blown mechanic, I know the basics. I do bodywork, paint restoration, and cleanup, and I understand enough to diagnose common car issues. The breakdown that broke us. Yesterday, Nick called me on my day off saying he was about 10 minutes from my house and had a flat tire. He asked if I could come help him out. I grabbed my tool bag and drove over, ready to lend a hand. When I arrived, I quickly realized his front left rotor was cracked, and his rim was completely bent to hell. This wasn't just a flat tire. His car was undrivable. I told him as much and said he needed to call a tow truck. Nick insisted I was overreacting and kept saying it was just a flat. I pointed out the damage, trying to show him how bad it really was, but he refused to listen. Instead, he got frustrated and accused me of mothering him about how poorly he takes care of his car. The argument escalated until he snapped and said, "Just because you have a set of pink tools and watch YouTube doesn't make you a mechanic." I didn't say another word. I calmly started packing up my tools and told him, "You're right. I'm not a mechanic. You should probably call one because I'm not changing your tire." And then I left. The aftermath. Nick refused to talk to me until I apologized for abandoning him. But here's the kicker. He ended up calling a tow truck and mobile mechanic who told him exactly what I had told him. Car was undrivable. It needed serious repairs. A simple tire change wasn't going to fix it. The mechanic refused to just swap out the tire and told Nick he'd only tow the car to a shop. Nick still won't tell me the full extent of the damage, but it must have been pretty bad, because instead of fixing his Nissan, he decided it wasn't worth the money and bought a whole new car. Breaking up over dinner. Earlier today, I invited Nick over for dinner. I spent all day cooking and baking his favorite dishes. When he arrived, he was in a great mood, acting as if he had completely forgotten about the argument. After we finished eating, I took a deep breath and told him how much I cared about him, but that I no longer wished to continue our relationship, romantically or otherwise. First, Nick was stunned. Then his shock turned to anger. He called me insane for ending our relationship over something so petty and unimportant. Eventually, he tried to apologize, but I told him an apology wasn't what I was looking for anymore. The whole time, I sat on the opposite end of the table, listening quietly as he vented his frustrations. When he was done, I reminded him of the good times we had shared. I told him that we were both adults and we had a choice. We could end our 1-year relationship angrily in a screaming match, or we could part ways amicably and enjoy one last nice meal together. Nick calmed down after that. His tone softened and we finished our conversation civilly. Before he left, I handed him some wrapped tiramisu and a small bin of all the stuff he kept at my house. Then, as he walked to the door, I hugged him and said, "If you ever need someone to show you how to change a tire, I'd be happy to send you a YouTube tutorial." Life update: new beginnings and old trucks. Over the last few days, I decided to treat myself. I bought my neighbor's old 1978 Ford Ranger, a rusty, beat-up red hunk of junk. It'll probably take me over a year to restore it, but you know what? I'd rather obsess over fixing an old truck than fixate on a broken relationship. For now, I'm staying single, focusing on myself and spending more time with my 3 German Shepherds. And honestly, I've never felt more at peace.